Hello, and welcome to this series on AWS Kinesis Data Stream. In this short series on Kinesis, you will learn how to create a stream and bring in the real-time data into a database. This is the architecture that we will cover in this series. So we will create our data stream in AWS Kinesis. This stream will get some real-time data from the AWS Kinesis Data Generator, which is an AWS service. After that, we will learn to create a Lambda function that will create an event-based trigger for the data stream. This function will also be responsible for writing the data inside the database. We will also learn how to create a DynamoDB database, and then finally the data points will land in our database table inside the DynamoDB with the help of Lambda function. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to this lab session. In this lesson, we will have an overview of the AWS Kinesis console. You can search for it in the service search bar, or if you have already used it, this can be found here in the recently visited AWS service section. Now let's search for the Kinesis service, and here it is, the real-time streaming data. So just select it, and here we are on the dashboard for the Amazon Kinesis service. As we have already studied, Amazon Kinesis makes it easy to collect, process and analyze real-time streaming data so we can get timely insights and react quickly to new information. For this purpose, here we have these three services. First one is the Kinesis Data Stream, which is a scalable and durable real-time data streaming service that can continuously capture gigabytes of data per second from hundreds of thousands of sources. Then we have the Kinesis Data Firehose, which is the easiest way to capture, transform, and load data streams into AWS data stores for near to real-time analytics with existing business intelligence tool. And the third one we have is the Kinesis Data Analytics. That is the easiest way to process data streams in real time with SQL or Apache Flink without having to learn new programming languages or processing frameworks. Moving forward on the console, we have the How It Works section that tells us about all these three services inside the Kinesis. For a complete real-time analytics project, we make use of all these three services. The data streams helps in collecting the data and then making it available for processing in real time. And with the help of the Firehose, the data can be processed by storing it into the data stores and the analytic tools. The Kinesis Data Analytics is the new feature provided by the AWS, and this allows it to perform real-time analytics on the stored data streams with the help of Firehose. And here are the benefits and features for all these three services listed. Just to quickly go through, the Kinesis data streams are useful for logging and even data collection, cases where you need to capture IoT devices data or mobile data, or for a gaming feed. Whereas the Kinesis Data Firehose will help you load this data to the storages for the analysis of the logs and events or the IoT data that you collect. The Kinesis Data Analytics will help you perform the ETL processes in the real time, perform the real-time log analytics or monitoring of IoT devices, and they also have real-life cases studies which you can go along and read if you have time. So these are very useful case studies. Alright, so the service we will focus on is all of these. But for this section of this course, we will look at the Kinesis data stream, which is the first one in the list. You can create it directly from here, or you can go to the Site tab and select this data stream option over here. Likewise, you can also create the delivery stream and the analytics applications. Now to create a data stream in AWS Kinesis, there are two methods. One using the console itself, and the other method is to use the AWS CLI tool, which can be done from your local PC, provided you have the access to the AWS account. We will look at both the methods in this course. So this is it for the lab session. In our next lab session, we will look at the creation of a data stream and then use it to bring the data in our stream and get some useful information out of it. Hello everyone, and welcome to this lab session. Previously, we have looked at how you can create a data stream from the CLI tool And in this lesson, we will look at how to create a data stream for AWS Kinesis from this console. Click on the option here to create the data stream. Here we will give the name for the data stream and I will name it as My Data Stream 01. Then we have the capacity mode. Either you want on-demand or provisioned. For the provisioned option, you have a limit for the shards. We have already discussed in detail about what shard is, so we can have from 1 up to 500 shards. The best thing is, if you alter the value of shards here, you can get to know the read and the write capacity for this data stream. I will be keeping 1 for my case. And if you want more shards greater than 500, you can request AWS to increase the quota for your account. There is also a shard estimator calculator, and depending on the number of records you wish to write, it calculates the shards required accordingly. You can also change the value for the average record size between 1 KIB to 1024 KIB. It won't allow you to add a value greater than 1024 KIB. I will be using a single shard for my case as it will be enough, and here it gives a summary of all the values for this data stream. Our capacity mode is provisioned and the provisioned shards is 1. The yes here shows that these can be edited after the stream is created, so you don't need to worry about it. The data retention period is 1 day and then all the other details. Let's create this stream. The stream is being created and it will take around 30 seconds to create this stream. Alright, so our stream is now created and it is in the active mode as of now. This is the ARN for this data stream. The capacity mode is provisioned. Now that we have created the data stream, the next step will be the producers and consumer creation. So we create the producers to produce and generate records in the data stream. You can do this with the help of Kinesis Agent, AWS SDK, or a Kinesis Producer Library, also known as KPL. Then, for the consumers, we have the option to create it with the help of Kinesis Data Analytics, or using the Kinesis Data Firehouse, or the Kinesis Client Library. So, we will be looking at each one of them in our course. Now, in future, when you are done working with the data stream and do not want to get charges incurred, you can go here and delete the stream. It asks for confirmation of the deletion. For that, type in delete here and hit enter. Alright, so the stream is available as of now. And it is in the active mode. So now we need to create a producer to generate the data that comes into this stream. We will be doing this in our next lab session with the help of Kinesis Data Generator, which is a web GUI provided by AWS. Hello everyone and welcome to this lab session where we will look at how you can create an IAM role for the AWS CloudFormation. Before we can send data to Kinesis, we need to first create an Amazon Cognito user in our AWS account, allowing it to have permissions to access Amazon Kinesis. To simplify this process, an Amazon Lambda function and an Amazon CloudFormation template are provided to create the user and assign just enough permissions to use the Kinesis data generator. To create the Cognito user, we need to create an IAM role for CloudFormation first. For that, we will search for the IAM service here. Click on the service. And here we are going to create a new role. So in the left side, select the Roles tab. And here click on Option to create a role. These are the list of services for which we need to have a role to allow full or limited access to a particular user. As of now, we are looking for the CloudFormation service. Select it and next we will go to the permissions. Here we will search for CloudFormation. On the top, we have the full access for this service. Then there are the read-only access, the console deploy access, and so on other permissions as listed. We are interested in the full access option. So the full access already has all the other permissions for this particular service we are selecting. Moving next, we have the tags. These are optional, so click on Next, and here we will give the name to the role, and I will name it as CloudFormation Full Access Role. This role will allow full access to the CloudFormation to manage the AWS stack. Let's go ahead and create the role. So now we have this role created with us, and we will use it with the Kinesis data generator to create the Cognito user. This is it for this lab session. See you in the next lab session. Hello everyone, and welcome to this lab session. In this lesson, we will look at how to generate the real-time data with the help of AWS Kinesis Data Generator. So this is the data stream that we created previously. It is up and active. Here is the AWS Kinesis Data Generator. I will provide the link for this in the description below and in the resource section of this course. With the help of this, you can generate real-time data that can be tested in our Kinesis data stream. Click on this Help option and it will bring you to this page. Just to let you know, the Kinesis Data Generator CloudFormation template that will be used for generating the data can only be used in any one of these regions listed here. And over here, we have created our data stream in the Oregon region, which is US West 2. So we will go ahead and create the Cognito user. This brings you to the page where you create a stack. So we have to prepare a template first. This can be done by one of the 3 steps. We have the option to use a ready template. This is a default template by AWS for Kinesis at this S3 location. You can also go with the sample template that AWS provides from the list here. Or you can go ahead and design a new template. We will go ahead with the ready template. Next, we give the name to the stack. This is the default name and I will use the same. Then we need to declare a username and the password for it so that anyone who has the access can log in and start sending the data. I will name it as skillcurve-kdg, short for Kinesis Data Generator, and then assign a password for this username. Click on Next. Next, we need to give the tags. This is optional, so I will leave it for now. Next is the IAM role. So we will assign the role that we previously created. This is the role that we created with the name CloudFormation Full Access Role. Even if you don't do it, AWS will by default provide the role permissions to the Cognito user that is being created. Alright, moving on, there are some advanced options as well. We have the stack policy, the rollback configurations as required. We will keep all of these as default and click on Next. Here are all the details for the user that we will create. This is the template URL that the stack will use. This is the username and its password hidden. And then the permissions and the tags. We will go ahead and create the stack. Okay, also click on the acknowledgement. Now the creation is in process. Let's wait for it so that it is completely ready and active. Alright, so the creation is completed. The next thing we need to do is go to the Outputs tab. And here click on this link. Now provide the login credentials to log in to the data generator. So here we are signed into the console. It shows the region. And we will select the current region where we have our stream created. Once you select it, it will automatically detect the stream in this region. So this is the data stream that we have with the name MyDataStream01. Here are the record template. So we can use up to 5 different templates to send the data. The records can be sent at a constant rate per second or periodic as well. You can change the number of records per second you want to send, and I will set it to 1 record per second. Now we need a template. So for the template, I have one available with me, and let me paste it here. This template will send the person's first name and last name, their ID, and their IP address randomly. If you click on the test template option, it shows what random data this application will send to the data stream. So it sends the first and last name, their ID, and their IP addresses. Click on the Send Data button, and it will start sending the data. Moving back to the data stream, we must see the data coming here in the monitoring pane. The data starts coming here after 5 minutes of time. We will have some data coming here in the incoming data. So I will pause the video here and start after 5 minutes. Alright, so here I will select the previous 5 minutes option to filter the data. So here we can see that some data points have started appearing in the statistics. We cannot see actually what the data is, but the statistics of some data coming into our stream. Alright, so this is how we send the data to the stream from the data generator. In our upcoming lab sessions, we will look at how to read this coming data with the help of Lambda functions in AWS. Hello and welcome to this lab session. In this lesson, we will create a DynamoDB table for our dataset that is landing into the data stream. We need this to bring our data stream data inside the database so that we can perform some useful analytics on it. So click on the link here and we will go to the Create Table page. I will name this table as Persons Data. Next, we need to give in the partition key. Just to let you know about the basics of DynamoDB, it supports two types of primary keys. First is you only use the partition key. This is a simple primary key composed of one attribute known as the partition key. Attributes in DynamoDB are similar in many ways to fields or columns in other database systems. In my case, I will name it as the IP, keeping its data type as a string. As you can see the data which we will send from the data generator, I have changed the name of the template to person data. So we have here the first name, the last name, the ID and the IP address, which I'm keeping it the primary key for my table. This sort key is optional here, which allows you to sort or search among the partition keys. We will leave this for now. Moving on, we have two different settings, the default and the customized settings. In the customized settings, we can change the table class to DynamoDB Standard or Standard Infrequently Accessed class. You can also change the read-write capacity for the table with mode as On Demand or Provisioned. I will keep things simple and move ahead with the default settings and create the table. Alright, so the table is being created. Let's wait for a minute to be completely created. And here we go. The table is now created and active. The next thing we need to work on is bringing the data into this table. We will do this in our next lab session with the help of Lambda function. Hello everyone and welcome to this lab session. In this lesson, we will go through the creation of a Lambda function to read the data stream that we created previously and write the data from Kinesis Data Stream to the DynamoDB table we created. So this is where we left off previously in the Lambda console. Click on the Create Function button here. So to create a function, we have these options. You can create a function from scratch or use a blueprint where there are a bunch of codes readily available for different services. You can also search for the Kinesis, and these are the readily available Kinesis functions. These are in Python, Node.js, etc. You can also go for the container image or browse serverless app repositories inside AWS. I will go with the author from scratch option and I will name my function as datastream-dynamodb. My runtime will be Python 3.9. Moving ahead, we need to set the execution rule. So we will use the existing role that we created previously, and this is the role I will select with the full access to Lambda service. Then there are some advanced settings which we don't need as of now. So keeping them as default, we will go and create the function. So now our function is created and here is the default code. Next, I will go to the add trigger option and add Kinesis as trigger. This will trigger the Lambda function whenever the data stream is available in our stream. Now here select the data stream, and this is the data stream that we created and is in use, my data stream 01. We don't have a consumer as of now, and keeping the batch size as default, leaving the rest of the other as default, we will go ahead and add this. So the trigger is now added, and you can also add multiple triggers here. Next, click on the Lambda function here to come back to the code so that we can edit it as per our requirement. I have a code snippet ready, so let me paste it in and I will explain to you what we are doing. So I'm importing here the base64 and the JSON libraries. Next, we import the Boto3 library, which is a Python SDK for AWS, using which we can access multiple resources inside the AWS. And then finally the datetime library. This is the main function here that will do the major work for us. And what we are doing here is telling the Lambda function that we will use the DynamoDB resource inside the AWS. This is our table that we will use. If I go back to the DynamoDB table, this is the person's data table we created. So coming back to the code, make sure you give in the correct name for this table. And then here in the for loop, we are accessing all the event-based records. So we first decode the data to the UTF-8 format, as the data streams are stored in base64 format. And we cannot understand it, so to have a readability, we need to convert it to UTF-8 format. This is what we are doing here. Then I'm printing the decoded data. This is not necessarily required. Then for the decoded data, we are writing the data inside the table we created in DynamoDB. This is pretty much it, so we'll go ahead and deploy these changes. Don't forget to deploy it, else it won't be running. The changes are now deployed. So in our next lab session, we will generate the data and see it stored in our database in DynamoDB. Hello everyone, and welcome to this lab session where we will generate the data from the Kinesis data generator and see it coming in the DynamoDB table we created. Here we are in our Kinesis data generator. We will go ahead and select the proper region where our data stream is located. First, I will select the records per second to be 1. Our region is US West 2 and this is the delivery stream that we will use. So let's start sending the data. The data is now being sent as you can see here. Now moving back to the table we created, and inside the items, I will select the person data table. And here you go, we can see the data coming in our table. As I refresh it, the data gets accumulated more and more. You can start performing quick queries to the database. We can perform queries with the help of partition key as well. Let's say I want to look at a particular IP, so I will search for it in the IP address. Let's say I'm interested in this IP. And when we run the query, here you can see that we have the result for this query. So if you scan the data and run the query, it will bring in all the data for you. I will go and stop this data generator so that we are not incurred excess charges. Alright, so this is it for this lab session. I hope you have got a clear understanding on how to create the data stream, generate the data, and bring it in the DynamoDB table with the help of Lambda function. Do let us know in the comments section of how you have experienced learning about this whole process. And if you would like to have us bring more videos for you, do mention it in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video.